You got caught cheating. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. There's a mountain of evidence that says so. You broke the rules by the letter of the law. Only question we have right now is what the punishment is going to be. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. It seems like the Michigan football team itself, the guys that actually play the game, they got to go run the plays that people were telling them they got to go stop, they seem not to care, and they get stronger with each one of these scandals, man. I mean, Jim Harbaugh was flirting with the NFL, lost 2 coordinators. All they did was run the table, win the Big Ten title, get to the college football playoff. This year, they lose Matt Weiss. This year, Jim Harbaugh gets into it with the NCAA again. Gets the self-imposed 3-game suspension. You lose Sharon Moore for a couple of those games too. Doesn't matter to those guys. They just go throttle people, right? And now you have this thing where you have a staffer who had this really elaborate scheme to steal signs from other teams that they were going to play. It's fitting that Michigan folks feel chippy, okay? And the reason I say that is because, well, a chip is self-imposed. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I have a tattoo here that says Chip, and I have a tattoo here of Rudyard Kipling's If. Those are on my shoulders. I got Invictus tattooed on my forearm. I understand. A chip that you put on your shoulder is to be walked around with and told who wants to fight. Knock the chip off if you want to fight. It's a self-imposed wound, man, because that's how you get around in life. That's how you fire yourself up. That's how you go win fist fights. Michigan loves a fist fight. They're also playing really, really, really good football. I mean, I have them the number 1 team in the country because they've been so dominant in a sport that demands dominance. But it feels like you could run the table the rest of the way. You could win a national championship, and this will be the dark cloud over your season. I hate this. The only question we have left is who's going to dish out the punishment and what will it be? Now, if the NCAA takes this all the way to the mat, we're talking about probably 7 months of intense investigation, maybe 4 months of going through like the process of trying to figure out what that punishment is going to be. And at that point, Jim Harbaugh might still be a head coach of Michigan. He might not, right? Whereas the Big Ten could look at this and decide, well, we have enough evidence to do something. But what would they do? I don't know. I don't even know that they want to get ahead of the NCAA on this because this is the NCAA's purview. And there are reports that the NCAA's been up at Ann Arbor asking questions and gathering information. It's just, what's it going to be and when's it going to come? My sense is it won't come before the season ends. And the College Football Playoff Selection Committee has already been told, until this team is sanctioned or any team is sanctioned, you cannot take that into account. So they got to play it as if the sign stealing thing is for somebody else to figure out. They got to figure out on an eye test and on an opponent test where Michigan should be ranked. I find it interesting that I'm the guy that is empathizing with Michigan folks, but again, I understand this. This sucks. There's nothing like feeling you have done everything in your power to go win football games, only to be thwarted by somebody else making decisions that you didn't know about and that you would have probably put the kibosh on. Matter of fact, Ohio State asked the College Football Playoff Selection Committee just last year, hey, is it permissible to go and scout other playoff teams in person? To which the answer was yes, and that led to a rule change, right? Somebody at Michigan, notably Connor Stallions, didn't ask that question. Just put this thing into focus and said, well, we'll see if we get caught. Well, you did. And now everybody at Michigan has to deal with whatever the consequences are. Again, Michigan fans, I empathize. It sucks. All you can do if you're a player is go win football games. Go win football games and then hold up the banner at the end, because at the end of the day, the game is played by the players on the field. Just because you know what's coming doesn't mean you can stop it. Just ask Colorado.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.